Martin is prolific. He's always very contemporaneous and thought-provoking. So I'm just happy to be here to be able to listen, and thanks to all of you guys.
So my little introduction, thank you, Peter, for doing that. It's brief and sweet. Martin has performed at Sacred Grounds many times since 2010, where he began coming by, and has featured more than once. He's been supportive of the venue over the years. I mean, I remember him bringing in, what was it, the amplifier and the microphone? Wasn't that? Yeah. And then we had the curtain project that we did and a couple of other things. So, he's been there and supportive. And then one of the things, a special event he cobbled together with Alan Harris and myself. He was the executive producer of the Sacred Grounds studio film Cosmic Orphan on the El Terravel, which was created in 2019 before the big change. And if you want to know more about that, here I can provide you plenty of it. A grand event, a recording of a wonderful afternoon. And I would also say that he is a bright person, comedic and politically savvy, who crafts his poetry with care. Without further ado or a don't, Martin, we are ready to give our attentions to you.
Okay, hi there. I did something special for tonight. The last time I featured it was in the actual Sacred Grounds Cafe. And I was a Martin come lately to the Sacred Grounds Cafe. I've only been reading there for 12 years. The Sacred Grounds Cafe hosted poetry for 48 years. And I wanted to do one more. I created something I called the Ghost Feature, which is that basically I rented the Sacred Grounds Cafe for an evening back in July of last year and performed the final feature at the Sacred Grounds Cafe. And I have a stack of poems that I could read to you, but what I'm going to do is have me read them to you after I share the screen. And this is coming at I call it the Ghost Feature because I delivered the entire feature, but nobody was there except Teddy in the back room. And so it was a feature given to no one. And this is the second half of it, where the feature is now given to the actual Sacred Grounds group. What I took was my feature to the Ghost audience and edited it with some audience reaction from previous poems that I had delivered there. So that's what you're hearing.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds. This next one is called Anything Times Zero. It's meant to be the final number in a play that I'm writing called Buddha on Broadway. And it involves 40 tap dancing monks in full regalia. So it goes like this. I thought it was there just a moment ago, the truth delivered up by a hero. But it seems that others have a different idea, that anything times zero is zero. In a world built on falsehoods, in a world built on faith, in a world with 7 wonders, we still need to find an 8th. Find a world with fair exchanges where people say what is true. Find a world that lets you build your life without anyone deceiving you. There are rules about counting, and there are those who decide whether any of those rules will be followed, who is out and who's inside. Because anything times zero is zero, and faith sometimes takes you for a ride. Ballots washing ashore in Venetia tell me someone has something to hide. I hold up my lance like a hero with Sancho Panza close by my side. But which way should I charge when the problem is so large and variations are so very wide? Because anything times zero is zero. The truth is not something to hide. Though the air fills with smoke and the messengers choke, we're all still awake on our side. Anything times zero is zero. It will not amount to much, except the things that you can imagine and the people that you can touch. I can cruise the information highway, chain reactions exploding my mind. Everyone takes a side, no one else will they abide, leaving nobody left to be kind. Because anything times zero is zero. The truth is not something to hide. Though the air fills with smoke and the messengers choke, we still are awake on our side. The dimensions of life are measureless. It makes me weary in seeking my bed, knowing all poetry is frivolous unless it really needs to be said. Because anything times zero is zero. The truth is not something to hide. Though the air fills with smoke and the messengers choke, we are all still awake on our side. I like this one. It's called Alouette. 6 French Canadians rowing a boat full of furs to the market, all of them singing Alouette, all of them in rhyme to the oars, even when their white puffs of breath against the cold are perfectly synchronized. Suddenly, and for no reason, one of them breaks out into the English translation of the lyrics, something about plucking the feathers of a horned lark. First the head, then the beak, then the eyes, then the neck. And this is what they use today to teach young children in France about the parts of the body. After he finished one stanza in English, the other 5 fur trappers stopped rowing. They just stared at the 6th fur trapper until he got the message. The boat drifted downstream for what was just a few moments, but seemed like an eternity. The only sounds were the birds and small chunks of ice bumping along the sides of the boat. The 6th fur trader stared defiantly back at his friends and colleagues. He opened his mouth and intoned, "Oh, oh, Alouette, gentille Alouette, Alouette, je te plumerai." The other 5 rowers joined in synchronized sequence, and the boat headed on to market. This one's called Dogs in the Park. Life is like those overexcited dogs in the park. Way more stimuli than can be pursued. You know, there is so little time, and yet there is this, and this, and this, and those things over there. Smells and sights and other creatures. What are they? And this, and wait, somebody's calling me. Do we have to go now? What was it I was just exploring? Maybe a little more? Okay. I guess we have to. You are my life. You know I love you. Okay, I'm coming along. What's next?
Thank you.
I like this one. It's called Monk in the Rain. So, it's raining buckets in San Francisco, and I drive to Safeway and I park on the rooftop lot. Between where I parked and the elevator, there's an unavoidable lake of water that varies between 2 and 4 inches in depth. I'm wearing my good shoes, so I pick my way through the water to the elevator. Before the door closes, I see 2 Asian men coming out towards the elevator, one of whom is dressed in full monk regalia. I hold the door for them, and they come inside. I point to the monk's sandals and say, "That's the right footwear for this parking lot." He nods and smiles. I pointed my shoes and said, "I'm picking my way through to find a path, but then I guess you're doing that too." Laughter all around. Door closes. End of scene. Time to go get bananas and waffles. This one's called Potemkin's Villages. The NFL, NBA, MLB, and NASCAR, the United States Congress and Supreme Court, the daily and nightly news, every building with a cross on it, or a crescent or a six-pointed star or a frog. Any commercially branded symbol, from Ronald McDonald to the Death Star, from Pollo Loco to the Hallmark card, from the Geico Gecko to the Texaco Star, from Santa Claus to Coca-Cola, from Friday Night Lights to Arby's, from the Lord's Prayer to the proclamation that greed is good. From red state to blue state, from faith in the dollar to faith in the water and air, from faith in education to faith in faith, from faith in your doctor to faith in your neighbors to faith in your fellow drivers on the road, even that one who is thinking that if he makes it through this, he will never do this again. Potemkin's villages, all manufactured on the fly before you got here and disassembled after you are gone. Wow. I like this one a lot. This is called Sunset Reservoir Vista. The reservoir wears a small park like a necklace. The western side holds a vista as the streets sweep downward to the shore. The Golden Gate Bridge to the north, the Marin Headlands to the left of that, pointing a long finger of land at the sea. 200 degrees of ocean lead to Daly City in the left corner of my eye. I sit in the middle of a line of benches all facing the sea. Two different sets of birds, one to the left, one to the right, share exciting news in two different bird languages. It is spring, they say, and we don't care if all the people are wearing masks. A medium-sized dog barks for joy with every other leap forward, chasing an overhead frisbee. Down the hill, the distant buzz of traffic on Sunset Boulevard contrasts with the distinct car noises of the occasional nearby driver. I know that there's a much larger city behind me, beyond the wall of earth that rises in the east, but in this quiet moment I pretend that the entirety is just this small coastal town that I see before me. But for a world-famous landmark, what I could see would be a small coastal town anywhere. Yet in its smallness, there are blocks and blocks of houses, rooftops after rooftops, grocery stores and pigeon-lined telephone wires, and other people here and there, not even token representatives of the ones inside the houses. On this particular day, there is just a hint of wind on my face. On this particular day, the Farallon Islands play hide and seek in the distant fog bank. On this particular day, it occurs to me that if one of us were not here tomorrow, the scene would essentially be the same.
Run, Joseph!
This one's called Drake's Equation. It's like, duh, of course there's life out there. Lots of it. Virtually everywhere that water can form, which is just about anywhere. We are special. We don't have to be alone to be that. It's just that some people really want to be special, and they don't want the competition from anywhere. I don't think they should worry. There's a lot of space out in space. And the question is not whether there are others out there, but how close the nearest ones are. Aye, there's the rub. We all live within the bubble of possibilities. Still, I would like to know what those others are like, just after I know what we are like. If they were like us, would we want to make contact? If they are like us, it could be wonderful. If they are like us, it could be horrible. Perhaps it is a good thing that there is so much space in space. This one's called Search for Intelligent Life. If there is intelligent life out there, and there most certainly is, are they close enough to be within communication distance? And if so, would they really want to communicate with us? If they are like us and paid us a visit, which us would they be like? Would they come to conquer us and drain our resources, or as friendly sibling beings? How do you tell the space alien that no means no? If ET phoned home, would it be to quarantine this planet, or to call in the dredging tools.
Wow, all right.
This one's called Crocodilian Brain, Vestigial Tail, Donald Trump. I have fundamentally overestimated humanity. What should be has never been a dominant theme, not unless it's accompanied by some Darwinian mechanism for survival. The monster with the biggest teeth, the fastest legs, the most aggressive core, the most deceptive hunting plan, the most ruthless spirit, the most money hidden in the Cayman Islands has always been the one who eats the others. We may think of them as bigger fish and giant reptiles, but more recently it's simply the history of man. We need only to look within ourselves to find the crocodilian brain, the vestigial tail, and Donald Trump. It's gone by so many names: the Grand Inquisitor, the murdering hordes, the society where all punishments are death, the class-based societies of tops and bottoms where the engines of exploitation pave the roads with the bodies of the fallen, the societies of madness where deviation from the norm is a mortal sin. How can this be when nearly all of my neighbors seem so nice? Just regular folk, unassuming, helpful, glad to see me. A simple walk to the grocery store without having to worry about personal safety. All participants in a network of positive illusions where a piece of paper or plastic card is given the credence of value exchange. Still, there are more spiders in San Francisco than there are people. By a lot. We just don't see them very often, or want to see them. We talk separately about animals and people as if we, the people, are not ourselves animals. Crocodilian brain, vestigial tail, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh.
This one's called Center of Mass. When I was young, karate master Oshima told us a story about a fight between a young rooster and an old one. The old rooster waited for the young one to attack. He took the inside and kept pecking away at the young rooster's center. The young rooster flailed about, trying to reach around and peck at the back of the old rooster's neck and head. The old rooster just kept plugging away, striking again and again at the young rooster's center. The young rooster was attacking furiously, expending great energy in trying to wipe out the old rooster once and for all. The old rooster just kept plugging away, plugging away, plugging away until the young rooster was totally spent. The young rooster fell away, and Oshima then understood how the old rooster got to be an old rooster. I've seen the decades go by, trying to do what I can and in some small way advance the cause of myself and others, using myself as the closest at hand model of humanity. At the end of many decades, I realized that model was wrong. I am not at the center mass of humanity, and that was my mistake, mine and a large mass of others who simply wished that things would get better instead of worse. Trouble was, not everyone had the same idea of what better was, or for that matter, exactly whom it should be better for. There were some very old roosters who had been pecking away for many decades at the center of mass. The folks around Hitler tried it, but they couldn't quite get the leverage. They had to regroup and work on it for a couple more generations. The center of mass can't see where it's going. This one is called At the Top of Her Jump. It's for my granddaughter, Hattie. At the top of her jump, she reached over to the ledge and pulled herself onto it. So simple. Multiple bounces to be sure, but the leap beyond, soon to give directions to Pirate Barbie. Keep leaping into the unknown. Thank you. My other grandchild, Casper, for a short length of time, took up the violin, and this one is called Be the Violin. Be the violin with your strings vibrating, amplifying intimately to fill the auditorium with feeling. Do not hesitate to lay out the simple playing chords, because life itself will fill in the curls. There can be no simple pure if the life driving it is fully alive. There are no pure single strands in nature. Why should there be in art? Just make the necessary leaps. Rein it in hard, then let it run free. If you have time, all of the unexplored corners will find a voice. This is called the Okuno Salung. Breathe in and hold. Lariat left. Lariat right. Shoulder left. Shoulder right. Controlled release of breath. Inhale. That's not me, he said. People have been doing that since long before I was born. Yeah, but it's all relative, I said. You were the one who showed it to me. So to me, it is your salung, the Okuno Salung. This one's titled, On the Day That I Die. On the day that I die, there will be a cascade of unfinished projects. There will be Post-it notes lining the edge of my desk. There will be kernels of poems spread about like popcorn. There will be unfinished plays, partially edited films, and half-formed ideas. There will be unformed revolutions that will have to be carried out by someone else. There will be unspoken words, but not to those that I love. Those have already been spoken, if even only by a look in my eyes. There will be hugs unhugged, despite how many hugs have gone before. There will be music and dancing and songs and laughter, even if I'm no longer here to feel it, to hear it, and to dance it. I am the hand that reaches out, feeling pieces of the universe that are beyond my grasp. Thank you.
And I'm back. Hi, folks. Thank you so much. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, can I unmute, ladies and gentlemen, give them a round there.
I give
That
you
was some slick editing there, Martin Marshall. Slick editing.
thank
That
you.
was fun.
It was kind of, with Alouetta, I did one thing, the video editor in me, which was to insert those pictures of the French River, the French Canadian River in the snow, just to kind of give the feeling of what they were, where they were, and so forth. And we all do these images all over the place, and I kind of like the multimedia capability of throwing that stuff in there to show as well as tell.